Why are you all scared, Crystal?
It got real quiet.
You're going to have to sign a non-disclosure.
Yep.
I'm not talking shit no more. Fuck that shit.
I don't talk shit.
You don't? That's all you do. The fuck you talking about? I don't talk shit.
Talk facts.
That's a lie. I'm going to ask your husband if you talk shit. So we ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Genre. Media.
Okay, here we go.
All you ladies, pull your chi-chis out. This is the JP Lopez show. Also, if you're a transgender, pull your pecker out. This is the JP Lopez show.
What is up? Thank you for tuning back into the JP Lopez show. I got some first timers here in the studio. Hold on.
Took a minute.
I had to find the button.
It's like you have too much fun with that.
So, can you go around the room and stand up and say your name and what you do for a living? Miss Cristal, Miss Eriquita. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
You gonna say a fucking word, Miss Erica?
Hello.
So this episode is just a motherhood episode. I kind of want to bring some just new topics and shed some new light on other shit other than being a slap dick ass podcast with my friends acting all mustarded.
I was wondering what
Yeah.
made you choose to do motherhood.
I think like 2024, I want to dip into new shit and I started last week with my boy and his sons, so let's see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
People would tell me, "Hey, get back to your old shit. We didn't sign up for this shit."
That shit's boring.
You had to spice it up a little bit. Well, we're fun moms.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. What would you say? How many years I've known you for? Like 7, right?
Sure. A while.
I would say 7.
Ever since Ernie was little.
And how old is she now?
13,
Yeah, about half her age.
maybe.
Well,
Maybe not younger.
Longer. Yeah, longer than that.
Because I remember her being little and talking shit to you.
Of course.
So it's been a while.
And then I've known you way before I
Don't age me.
before I even started dating Lita.
Oh, wow.
Y'all were all the besties.
Yeah.
Go best friend. That's my best friend.
How long have y'all been friends?
Drinking dollar beers at the library.
Since high school.
I didn't know that.
And then JP, I would say probably since 2000.
Dang.
Does that, well, maybe 99.
Probably the greatest years of your life,
Yeah.
if I had to guess.
99 and 2000.
No, but I guess let's just jump into it. Want to?
Okay.
What do you want to
Yeah.
do?
Whatever you want to do.
So I sent y'all guys the topics, and I kind of wanted to see, I guess, obviously, your response to this. But I saw this on TikTok a while back, and I was like, man, that's a good question. And I saved it in my phone. It's been in my phone for a long time. But if you could have a conversation with your old self
Am I going first?
before you had your first child, what would be the main things that you would say?
To get ready for a crazy next couple of years. Because it's going to be a lot harder and crazier and more fulfilling than anything you're ever going to experience in life. Like, I didn't know it would be this hard and go through this much crazy shit.
It was
In
like
a good way.
hard how though? Like everything financially?
Everything.
Uh,
Everything from financially being super young and then working and having a husband at the same time and then having my daughter she's fucking crazy. She's a lot to handle. It's just a lot at once.
outside looking in, it looks like you in particular had your shit together at an early age because, like, you got married early, started a family early, and then like bought a house way before like any of us ever fucking did.
I never felt like I had my shit together. I still don't feel like I have my
No?
shit together. No. Oh, but when I look back at it, I mean, I guess I kind of did.
Yeah.
I was always responsible at a young age, though. But that was like, I was taught that.
From your dad or your mom, or both?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
They
Especially
both-
my mom.
They both were hard asses though, or no?
No, just my mom. I could do no wrong with my dad.
Daddy's girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Like, I mean, because you're way younger than us. By what, 10 years? What are you?
32.
Yeah, so like 10
Making
years.
me say my age.
And like you had,
I felt old.
you had your own house. You were married, had your
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, but
and
it was
you-
hard.
And
It was so
this
hard.
isn't like you just got it. Like you've been having that shit.
Yeah,
so,
but it was so hard. People don't. I guess they see that and they like, oh, they have it all together. No, it was so fucking hard. Like it was so hard.
yeah. I mean, so you got married before y'all finished tech or after?
Right around the same time. Because remember, I was taking finals at the same time.
And
as
then
our wedding.
Serenity was born
Serenity was
before or
born way
after?
before.
Before your marriage, right?
Yeah, she was 18 months when we got married.
So y'all both managed school,
Mm-hmm.
being parents. That's fucking crazy, man.
It is crazy. I
Like-
don't know how we did it.
Against all odds.
Yeah, but I guess we just had to. There wasn't a choice. No one was gonna save us.
Yeah.
So we just, I don't know. We just had to. You don't think about it when you're doing it. But we did have a lot of help. I mean, my parents, babysitting wise, that helped in the evenings at least.
And y'all work night jobs?
Everything. I remember I worked during the day and I cleaned houses. I would work as a cosmetologist and then I would clean houses in between and then go to school. And then Francisco always had at least 2 jobs. Remember, he would work overnight at Target, go to school during the day, and then work like the evening shift. I don't know when he slept. I don't think he slept.
That's insane.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad we did it back when we were young because there's no way I could do that now. I can barely handle an 8 to 5 job.
Yeah, but you had no, like, you had no choice. You know what I mean?
There
like,
was no
it was,
choice.
Yeah.
Like,
So
if
if
you
you're
wanted to
given
eat
the
and
same
survive-
option when you're now, like, you would do it, like, because you'd have no other choice.
Yeah, we just have no other choice.
But I just wanted to say kudos to you because, like you said, you might not feel that you got your shit together, but in my eyes, like, you and Cisco both been having y'all shit together for a long time.
Thank you.
Especially out of all of
We
us.
try. We try really hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's like Domingo Melissa status because they started a family and got a house and did that shit way early. But I think they kind of missed out on partying
Yeah.
those years and y'all fuckers didn't.
No. And we still partied. I don't even know how. When I look back, I'm like, how did we do all that? Like, no idea. No idea how
I
we did
couldn't
any of
tell
that.
you how many times I seen Serenity passed out on the couch at 4 a.m. and
Yep.
we're still partying.
Yep.
And Serenity's just passed the fuck out.
Yep. We still enjoyed ourselves. Somehow we found time. Somehow. I don't know. Yeah. I still enjoy
Yeah.
partying
Well,
when we have time. But now I need energy drink before.
A nap.
what's your
Mm-hmm.
energy drink?
If I need a lot of energy, I'll drink a bank. But if I'm just like, chilling, I'll drink the sugar-free Monster.
You feel the energy, like the caffeine from it?
From a bank, yeah, I can drink like half a bank and I'm like hyped.
I can drink that shit right before bed. Go straight to bed.
But I don't drink it very often. I mean, I'll drink maybe like once a month. So
Yeah.
I don't drink it very often. Well, I don't drink energy drinks very often anymore. I used to. I lived on those things.
Those are bad for you.
I know. That's why I don't drink them that much anymore.
Anywho, moving on. So, Miss Erica, if you could have the same conversation with your old self before you were a mother, what would you say?
I did have that conversation. I didn't have kids until I was in my 30s, so it's a lot different. I mean,
Still hard.
yeah, I married the person I've been with since 9th grade, and we've been married since 2008, so it's been about 16 years now. But we didn't have kids until, and I say have kids, I'm not a biological parent, and so I had time to like think about it, and make a decision on, oh, I want kids. But when you were saying like, are you ready? Like, are you ready for this? And telling yourself like, what you need to know. I was in my 30s and I still have those thoughts. I probably still feel exactly how you felt when you were a lot younger than what I am now.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
I still don't know what I'm doing, and I don't even want to say how old I am.
Do all mothers think that they're bad moms?
Yeah.
Yes.
Regardless of how fucking awesome y'all are, y'all still think?
Yeah. Because you always feel like you could do it better. And I think that comes from just your upbringing, like where you came from, how you grew up, just trying to change things a little bit at a time. You're never meeting your own expectations, so you put a lot of weight on yourself.
Can you elaborate more on you can do it better though? Like you are already stretched out as thin as it is. Like how much better can you do?
I don't know. It's hard to like put in words because you just have that feeling that it's not good enough. And I think that's a pressure we put on ourselves just from how we were raised.
Do y'all express that to y'all's husbands? Or no?
I do.
No, not really.
Does he tell you you're good enough?
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me like what we've been through, what we're going through. I went to school like at a later age and got my master's way later, like within the last year. And so he's always been super supportive and, reminds me like you do a lot, you are all over the place, but it's still, you're your own worst critic. Like, it doesn't matter what he says. I just feel like I could do a better job.
I
I
don't
know exactly what you mean.
I'm not at all shitting on how you feel. Outside looking in, like I think you're amazing.
Well,
I mean,
appreciate
because
that.
I couldn't tell you how many times. I mean, because we always invite you everywhere, and you've always like been like, "Nah, the kids got this, blah 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 blah." As opposed to, I know a lot of motherfuckers with kids are like, "All right, we'll be there."
Or I would show up with my backpack on.
Yeah, straight from school or whatever you're doing. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, I would like to, for you to take home from here. Like, I think that you're pretty high up there in my book.
I appreciate that. It's very humbling to hear stuff like that because you put in a lot of work, and even though you recognize that you're putting in work, it's just like it doesn't stop. It's just nonstop. You are not ever ready, like Crystal said. Like you think, I'll be prepared for this, and even to this day, like when we're going to a soccer practice or something, I think I have it together, and I misread the direction, and we show up late, or we forget a soccer ball, and I'm like, God, dog it! Like, here we go again. I'm gonna be running all over Lubbock because I wasn't prepared enough, and so you just are more hard on yourself. I think it's really easy to feel that way. So I appreciate that.
Are you guys harder on your daughters than you are your sons?
No. But my son's still 3, but I don't think so.
No.
We talked about this in our household, like before we had our son, like when I was pregnant and we knew it was a boy. Like, I don't believe in that shit. Like, being more strict because it's a girl, or, oh, she can't date because she's a girl, but he can do also because he's a boy. No, fuck that. Like, but also in our household, the way my husband and I are, we do both. Like, we both cook and clean and help take care of the kids. So we're a little bit, we're not very old school, but so we talked about like when our son gets older, like being strict with him and holding him still to the same expectation as we do our daughter. I don't know.
You don't think you are either?
I think I am because she's older. But as he's been growing, like at the same age that he is now, like she's starting to notice that there's not favoritism. Like I think before she thought there was, just because he's the baby and he needed more. And so, in the eyes of a 7-year-old versus like a 2-year-old, she's going to think he's getting more attention because he needs more attention. He needs to be followed because he'll put stuff in his mouth.
Yeah.
And I think now as he's getting older, she's like, oh, like my mom is fair. she does tell him the same stuff. So it's not so much in the expectations we have for them, but I think their age right now is playing a role in it because she knows and he's learning.
Yeah.
So have a little more leniency with him, but not it's not out of like favoritism.
We kind of have that. My daughter's 13. She said that the other day, like, y'all are, he's your favorite. He's 3. He can't wipe his own ass. Like, he's 100% not the favorite. Like, she's so spoiled. But, like, with attention and love, not just material things. But I'm like, he's 3, you know what I mean? Like, he can't be by himself. He can't work phone. He can't feed himself, you know? And so she's like, oh, okay, you know.
But when I meant like harder on your daughter, I didn't mean like strict as far as how you were saying. I meant like stricter because obviously you are a girl, you are a woman now, and like harder for her to be like a successful young woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I meant.
I have told
like,
her that. Yeah, we had a conversation not too long ago. You know, her school's predominantly white, and she's Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, you will always have to try twice as hard. And you're a woman. And, you know, I was like, and you're a girl. I was like, you will have to try twice as hard. And you can do, whatever you want to do, but you need to bust your ass and stand out.
Yeah.
So, yes, I definitely
That's what
do
I
see
meant
that.
by strict, like harder on your daughter than your son.
I think just being more on, I mean, I don't know how he's going to be, but being more on her
Mm-hmm.
and putting that in her head at a young age, like, you know, the world is, I'm very blunt with my children, with my children, I am. I'm like, the world's not a pretty place. You're going to have to bust your ass and try hard. And nothing's going to be given to you. I was like, and you are Hispanic. You're darker, you know, and you're a girl. So you're going to have to try hard.
And what was that conversation like? Did she receive that well, or she was?
Kinda. She just, I was like, do you get what I'm saying? And she was like, I think I understand. So, I don't know.
That's crazy, man.
I think if you were to have that conversation with somebody who was not in that situation, so like a kid who has never had to worry about stuff like that, it might come as a shock, but because they see your struggle, they probably receive it as like, oh, I get it. That's a given because I've seen you work harder and do more. So that makes sense.
I hope so. I always tell her, do you see us ever resting? Like, we're always doing something. You know? So we'll see.
In that sense, are you harder on Ray, or no?
I guess I'm harder on her because she's the oldest. Like, she came first, and so she has to lead by example, and not because she's a girl, but because you need to be leading by example. And if it would have been a boy, I would have said the same thing. If he was older, like, we're gonna do things this way, and this is how it is in the household. And it's one of those things like, don't ask me 5 million times the same question because my answer is going to stay no, and y'all are both going to learn not to ask me more than once. So if my answer's no, it's no. And so I think if it was a boy first, it would have been the same. The difficulty is with my kids, they're not biological, and so that makes it a little tricky because, you know, there's an order of hierarchy when your kids are born. The oldest is usually like more protective, right? Well, my son, I've had him since birth, and she came to live with us after. So she's older, but he's been there longer. And so it makes things a little tricky, and I think that creates a little bit of competition, but I do everything I can to make sure that they know, like, however strict I am is going to stay the same with both of y'all. But I do try to, like, keep their head on straight and explain stuff like that to them because, like, what else are you going to do? You got to prepare them.
You really think there's competition there, or no?
Yes. You know, again, I think how he was born plays into a lot of it. He's got some struggles coming up that we've never had to deal with that or experienced it. And so I think she feels like there's favoritism. But she's, like, also in that age where she wants to compare price tags. She's like, oh, you spent such and such on him. I'm like, yeah, girl, but you're in a soccer club and you play guitar. So, you know, you're expensive. So she just sees those as things that she goes and spends time there, but she doesn't see the money that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to remind her, like, we don't talk, like, money is not the situation. Now, can you talk to me? That's what's important. Can you mess up and then come have a conversation and we'll talk about it? That's how he's going to be treated as well. So right now, you just enjoy the ride because you're getting, like, way more stuff than him. You're expensive.
There's a lot of times where we're all around each other and we're your typical circle of friends where the men go with the men and the women stay with the women, and then at the end of the night we'll all come together. But the common story with both of you is like you have an open door for your children to tell you anything. How do you think that came about with both of y'all? Like was that from the very get-go? Like, you can come to me and tell me anything? Because some of the stuff that, you've said, like, your kids have told you some wild shit that, in my opinion, if I was a kid, I would never tell my parents that shit.
That's
Yeah.
why.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So, how do you think that came about? Like, was that...
I didn't want it to be like, I mean, I was really close to my mom and I could tell her some stuff, but she never asked. She would like, oh, something's wrong. She knew kind of, and I would kind of say some stuff, but I couldn't say everything I wanted to say because typical Hispanic household, like, you don't talk about it, like, it's not going to happen, and you better not be doing anything.
Yeah.
You can't make a mistake. And I didn't want to be that way. I was not going to be that way. So I knew, even though I was 18 and pregnant, like, we're going to be open and talk about everything. And we talk about everything in our house. And I talk to my daughter and ask her topics. Like, she's super uncomfortable, and I will talk about them and talk about them and talk about them. I have no problem talking about conversation. And I've done that with, like, my nieces and nephews, stuff that I know they can talk to their parents about. I would talk because I knew, like, every teenager or preteen, I know they're going to have questions. So I ask questions before she even asks questions. And I tell her, if you have any questions, please don't ask your friend. They don't know. Ask me. And I'll tell you, I will always tell you the truth. I will not lie to you.
It's just great. It's fucking badass how the trust is there for her to you. You know what I mean? To trust you to. Like I said, if I was a kid and told my parents that shit, they'd be like, "Why the fuck are you over there?" And what, like.
But I hope it stays that way. That's
Yeah.
the scary thing. I hope it stays that way. And I try to keep her trust, and I tell her, like, this is a safe space. Like, I'm not going to go. And if you ask me, like, please don't go tell Dad. I'm not going to go tell Dad about all this crazy stuff, Like, of course, if it's something super important, of course, yes. But, to have that trust.
Yeah.
But
that's
I think
important.
also we don't have the same degree, but they're similar. And there's a lot of communication in
That's
those
what I was gonna
degrees.
ask is if
There's a lot of
y'all's
communication.
schooling played a factor in the way that you became a mom.
It's interesting because, yes, it did, but going back, like, the reason that I went into that field is because of my childhood. Because I didn't have somebody to talk to, so I tried to be that for other people. So,
You didn't have someone to talk to, right?
right.
Do you think that was trauma, or you just didn't have someone to talk to?
So my mom was a single mom, and my dad wasn't around until I was older. And so, like, I just went out and did whatever I wanted to do. And I remember one time I had a friend that died, and I think I was in middle school, maybe 9th grade, 10th grade, and I was crying. And my mom didn't know why I was crying, and she came in the room and she said, "You better not be crying about no boy." And my friend had died, and she didn't know that. And so it was like a prime example. It's a core memory now. Like, I can't talk to you about anything.
Was it a boy?
It was a boy that died, yeah. But he was a friend of mine.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I was just asking.
But it was
Yeah.
like, her assumption, though, was that I was heartbroken, and I'm not old enough to be heartbroken. Which I think you're always old enough to be heartbroken. You think
Yeah.
whatever situation you're in is the most important situation for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the end of the world. This is it. So I don't fault her for that because I know how she grew up. You know, it all stems
Yeah.
further back, which I think that's where my education helps me, is that help me to understand where I came from, how I want to be different, and what profession I wanted to be in. So, like now with my kids, I can't say that like my daughter's comfortable talking to me about everything yet because she's still so young.
Yeah.
But she does, like, we have some pretty big conversations for her age. And I think that's because it's such an open door. Like, she's comfortable asking questions that I never would have asked. Never. So, yeah, we talk about everything.
So you're both of your sons are way early in age, young in age. That's the same shit you're gonna have with your son,
Oh yeah.
like for real, like.
Yeah, I already tell him things that, like, I don't know if it's a boy thing, but he's always grabbing himself forever.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
boy
like,
thing.
go do that in your room.
It's a
Like,
boy thing.
I'm not going to tell him not to do it, but don't do that in front of everybody in your company. You know, like, go do that in your room. So I don't know that that's, like, something he's doing, but I want him to be able to be comfortable with the situations. You know, when I was little, you didn't call things by their anatomical name. You called them hoo-ha and other things. You know, you don't say the words. And in my house, you say the words. I want to know, because if something happens and that's important, then I need to know the correct terms of what's happening to you. And so we just talk about everything. Everything is on the table. Like, I don't have any reserves with my kids.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. We use the real terminology. I have a
There's no code words.
No, a quick funny story. So my daughter, I used to work at the rape crisis in my undergrad, and she was little at the time, so she knew everything. And so when she was in pre-K, she was at the playground, and she hurt herself in a particular area, and she started yelling the name of it, and the teachers were freaking out because she knew the correct terminology. And they told me, they're like, she said she hurt her. And they were like freaking, they're like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm sorry, I should have told y'all, but like, my kid knows.
We're comfortable with that.
My kid knows her parts, and she knows what boy parts are called, and she knows what's supposed to be said and what's not supposed to be said. So if you hear it again, just know. And then I told them my background and where I was like, so we're very like, she's up to speed, probably more than average 4-year-old.
That's kind of what happened to us. My daughter was taking a shower, and she used to ask me to scrub her hair. And so I was like, I always tell her, like, wash this part, and this part, and then I'll come help you with your back, and I'll scrub your hair. And we had company over, and the door was cracked, right? So I could hear her. I don't even want to say it because I'm afraid, like, one day this is going to come back to haunt her. She's like, Mom, I'm done washing my vagina.
Yes, I know exactly.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is so, like, it's not embarrassing, but it was hilarious. I'm sorry, I cry really easy.
Yeah, it's more humorous.
Yeah. Well, like, that, like, when I laugh really hard, my eyes get very watery. But it was like, everybody got quiet. Like, what the? So I'm like, okay, I'll be right there. And then I had to come out and be like, we go by names in this house.
But that's crazy because growing up, it was cookies.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
There's
like my cookies,
code.
and
Yeah.
that was
I did-
code for your
yeah.
private parts.
Yeah,
Like,
and you find out.
And you don't talk
so
about it
quick.
anymore.
yeah,
too.
you don't bring it up. Yeah.
You find out so quick, and I think that's attributed to like the education that I went through for, trauma, is that you have to name what part they touched. You can't say cookie. You can't say something that's not like an actual thing. So I've been like, oh, they need to know what this is called, and I tell like my mom and my dad, so that if they're ever watching them, they're not like shocked, because it's not like
It's just funny because it's shocking to so many,
But that's what I was
to
gonna.
everybody else, but to us, that's not. It's just a normal thing. And
it's a normal word.
But that's what I was gonna say too. But even like your mom and dad, if they're watching it in the beginning, wasn't it kind of foreign to them? Because like you said, you grew up not talking about that shit.
Yeah, it was really hard when even as an adult, talking to my mom about stuff like that and explaining to her why I needed my daughter to be so open. And now it's not. Like, she recognizes what my profession is, what kind of work I do. And funny enough, we work together. So she hears stuff all the time, and I think that helped her open up too. But there's still some things that I think would still like make her turn red.
Yeah.
She would not talk to my kid about it, but
Finish watching my cookies. So I guess we'll transition into this question. Do you feel that the sons keep more space in the mama's heart than the daughters, or no? And I ask that question because it's your typical, stereotypical mama's boy, and then you each have sons, so...
I don't. My son prefers his dad over me any day. That's his best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I before I had kids, I always wanted a daughter. I prayed for a daughter the first time I was pregnant. I mean, of course, my son's my best friend too, and I love him to death. But I don't know. I love them differently, but equally, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my son is gonna prefer his dad because he just like their bond is. Well, my son's first year of life, that's when my husband was laid off. So he's the one that kept him. So their bond is like, I don't know, it's different. It's very rare. I also think it's very rare for a dad to be able to spend that much time with their baby. You know what I mean? It was crazy. But anyways, so no, I think I love them differently, but I don't see more of my son than my daughter in my heart.
I'm envious of that because I've always wanted that relationship with my dad. Like, I always wanted to just be in his daily life and chill out, and it wasn't like that at all.
And my husband didn't have that at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Oh, it wasn't like that for him either?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So we're both the way we are with our kids are not like, I mean, there's a couple things we take from our parents, but we're different with our kids than what we were. But his dad worked. His dad still works day and night. Like, he's the provider, you know. That's still, they're still old school, so he's still the provider. He's a good dad. Like, he was a provider and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But my husband's a little different. He loves to be with them. Like, loves to be with them day and night.
You roll your eyes like, I fucking hate that.
No, it's both of them too. Like, both of them. Like he loves his schedule getting off at 3 because he loves being with them.
Yeah. That schedule is like perfect to drop the kids off at school and pick them up. Like, it's crazy. But would you say that that's a stereotype?
yeah, I mean, I have to catch myself, I think, because their situations and circumstances are so different. And they're half siblings, like biologically, they're half siblings. And I don't ever want my daughter to feel like, you know, I love my son more. So I have to make a conscious effort because I do hold her to like a higher standard just because she's older. And she's always been like a good student. Like, she's smart and she works hard, and if she wants to do something, like, she's going to try really hard to do it. But I don't want her to feel like she's second to my son. But then at the same time, I was raised with only a sister, and my mom had no boys. So my mom was hard on us because, like, when I was younger, I would stay home by myself at a young age. I knew how to cook for myself, basic stuff, wash my own laundry, do all of those things, which I don't expect my daughter to do. I try to do everything for her because I want her to have a childhood, you know. But it's like my husband is my son's best friend, which he prefers him. That's his BFF. But he prefers mom's snuggles. So I take what I can get.
Yeah.
So if he feels sad or down, or even if, like at night, he wants me to hold him when he's falling asleep, which my daughter's more independent. She's never wanted to sleep in our room. She's like, I'm going to bed, close the door, I'm going to take a shower, and then I'm going to bed. And
Closes
she's 9.
the door?
Yep, we close the doors in our house because I just
But
don't-
she's not afraid or wow.
No. She's always slept in her own room. No problem. She's come to my room one time and she had a bad dream. And she laid down for about an hour and then got up and went back to her room in the dark. And my son,
Thank you.
yeah, and my son is like, I'm sleeping in your bed
Yeah.
every night of my life until I'm grown. So I would let her too. She just is more independent and chooses not to.
Yeah, I think the way my parents did the parenting led me to a path of only being able to go to my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if my dad wasn't working, then I couldn't bother him with just bullshit. So I had to pick and choose what I'm going to take to my dad because my dad was like, I don't want to, don't bring me that bullshit. So I went to my mom for everything. And then as you grow older and you're starting to get into a little bit of trouble, I'll be damned if I'm going to tell my dad, like, hey, I got a curfew ticket or hey, I got a speeding ticket. So, I mean, my mom was my everything. And I wanted that from my dad, but, I mean, that's just not how he was my dad. So,
And I feel too like that generation is probably a lot more emotionally unavailable with the
Yeah.
men.
yeah.
I don't know how my husband's relationship was with his dad, but I do know like he played a lot of sports growing up, and so he looked to him for like guidance in terms of this is how you do things, this like the right way, you know. And so we were so young when we got together. I mean, 15 years old, and he would spend a lot of time at my house. Like we would hang out all the time. So I'm sure that his parents were probably like, "Oh my God, here's this, you know, little girl taking our son." And now I think about that, like, what were they thinking? Because I have a son, and like, what would I think? How would I feel about that? So, my husband also does the cooking and the cleaning, also, and so they're close, and so he teaches him stuff like that, which I think my dad probably never would have been like, "This is how you make eggs," and vacuuming every day, like,
Yeah.
so it's interesting to see like the difference in the generations.
You
Very
don't
different.
cook or clean? Or do you cook and clean?
Yeah.
You don't?
Yeah, no, I cook and clean. 'Cause-
But Cisco don't
Yeah.
do most of the cooking or
No,
you do it all?
no, we both do.
Oh,
I do more cooking, and then he helps me. But no, sometimes he'll cook it all. It just depends on who's busier and who has more going on that
I
day.
asked that because I was just gonna say is I think that now in this day and age that the old school roles have been reversed. Because I hear more and more dads doing the cooking like most of the time.
Oh no, like, I mean, he'll cook, and if he cooks, it's gonna be like basic stuff. And if I'm cooking, like, we're gonna have like
Yeah.
a big meal. But there's some days where I'm busy, and so we're just gonna have an easy, quick meal. Like yesterday, yesterday we did cleaning, and we both just conquered cleaning for 2 hours. Like, you do that, do this, and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I hear a lot of my friends, the men, do most of the cooking now. And I know we're like that now because I just never really liked her cooking when we started dating. And then she was just like, fuck you, you cook then. And that's just been
But I think
our
I
dynamic.
enjoy cooking more than he'll make a lot of the meats and stuff, but I'll make like more of the sides and stuff. And since we've been together since we were so young, I learned how to cook a lot of stuff from his mom. And like he'll kind of try, but like no. So I'll cook a lot of stuff that she makes.
Some pussies.
I tried to.
Pupusas. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll do a little bit more cook. I don't know. Like I said, it just depends what we have going on in our lives. We both had to do both roles, so it's
You have a favorite dish from your kids that they like of yours?
well. Right now, my son don't like nothing besides
Oh, yeah.
McDonald's.
Besides
Oh,
McDonald's.
We have chicken nuggets in our freezer
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
Air fryer like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love air fryer. Oh, air fryers.
Yeah, while you're making regular food for everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
you throw some chicken nuggets.
So
in
they
there.
don't. You don't have a favorite dish of theirs that you make?
My kids like my husband's cooking more. Because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it real quick, and we're gonna eat because that's the point. It's gonna taste good, but it's not gonna be fancy or pretty. And my husband just recently made rice, right? Like not too long ago. Well, backstory. When we were younger, I made rice for him one time, and he was like, "That's not how my mom makes it." Yeah, I didn't make rice for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So I started making rice again, right? Well, he made rice the other day, and I'll be damned if his rice was not better than mine. I said, "That's your job now."
For real though, yeah, really. My kid, they
You
love.
make it
It's
right.
just super random, but they love my chicken parmesan, and then my enchiladas. That's what they like for me to make the most.
They like your mom's salsa. Little
They'll
inside
eat it
joke.
sometimes, but they'll eat mine. And then I just started cooking a lot of Asian food. It was fun. Saturday night. My daughter eats everything, and she was like, "Ooh, I'm so glad you can cook, Mom," because she said none of my friends' moms know how to cook. She used some slang terminology. I forgot what she called them.
I saw that on your Snapchat. Y'all had like an Asian night or some shit.
I've been playing around with some recipes.
Is it
but when I
cheaper
have
than
time-
buying it, or is it about the same?
No, it's
Because
cheaper.
buying fucking Chinese food's like $100, man.
Yeah, no,
Easy.
A lot of the ingredients I have already now, like because they'll use a lot of different ingredients, but once you have majority of
Yeah.
them,
It's cheap.
Then it's
yeah.
not
You
very
just gotta buy
expensive.
the like rice and the
Yeah.
I would buy. We did like I bought a wok and I used to make like chicken fried rice, and I got my husband a Blackstone, and man, he cooks everything out there. Breakfast, lunch. He makes like hibachi style food. I'm like, you go with
Yes.
it. Yeah.
I
a
want one
Blackstone.
of those too.
I
Yeah,
fucking man.
He's out there, and then he cooks the food, right, and then he goes immediately after and he cleans it off. I'm
Oh.
like, you were dedicated, because nope, I'll put that off. for
When I
later.
cook, like I'm cleaning while I'm cooking.
I do that.
Like I can't fucking stand making a big meal and having all that shit to clean afterwards.
I do that in the kitchen, but outside, since it's just the one like Blackstone, you just scrape it off and wash it off and cover it.
He
back
washes
up.
it
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
I
Wipes it
thought
down.
you weren't supposed to,
Well, it's just like with,
because I thought like gotta keep it seasoned or some shit.
or well, maybe it's not. Maybe he doesn't wash it. He probably just wipes it
Yeah,
down with
wipes
a towel,
it,
with the rag, with the
It's
oil
supposed
rag.
to be like a cast iron. You're never supposed to wash a cast
Yeah,
iron.
he knows. He takes care of all his stuff. I'm like, get it done, however fast it is.
On that note, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. And we're back. So, now that I got y'all signed non-disclosure agreements, we can open up ourselves and talk about
Some
more shit.
HIPAAs.
Our hippos. Privacy.
Right off the bat, I wanted to ask this question because I really feel that there is, but maybe asking y'all can sway my mind or me thinking differently. But do you think that there's competition in Latino homes specifically between mothers and daughters? And maybe not so much now, but maybe in the past.
So I didn't get that question when you sent it to us. So I was actually on my mom when you sent me the questions. We were eating dinner together on Monday. Anyways, and I was like, Mom, I don't understand what that question is. She was like, what do you mean? That's envidia. I was like, what? Like, I don't understand. And she was like, yeah, you know how Hispanics are? And I'm like, no, I don't. What do you mean? She was like, a lot of times in Hispanic households, the mother and the daughter are competing against each other. Like, if the daughter is like prettier than the mom, then the mom will get jealous. Or if the daughter's smarter or accomplishing more than the mom did, then the mom will get jealous. And I'm like, what? I didn't know that. I'm like, what? Or like, if dad is focusing more on daughter, spending more time with daughter, giving her more affection, the wife will get jealous and want, like, why are you giving her more attention than you're giving me? And to me, that's just crazy. I don't understand that.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, so I really, and then to ask my husband, I'm like, what do you think this means? And it's kind of the same thing what he said too. And I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it
And
is.
so now I know. So maybe, yeah, I guess it is in some households, but I guess in ours, no, my daughter, I pray and I want to help her to be better than I ever will be. Like, my goal is to help her be better than I ever will be.
Yeah, I think that's fucking awesome. Like, that's a badass. But I'll ask your input. You think there is? Like I said, I already feel that there is.
Such a loaded question.
Yeah.
So I 100% feel what you just said, like about your mom's and your husband's perspective, because I recognize that it's there and I knew it was there. But I don't know that the intention is competition, but more of inferiority. So, like, let me give an example. So, like, my mom did not go to college. She went to like a trade school and did the best that she could for us. And she'll, anytime I make a grammatical error on a text message, she sends it back to me, like joking around, which I know that she thinks it's funny, but it's like a little jab. You know what I mean? And I don't think she intends it to come off that way, but it feels like there's a problem, which I think it's just a situation of doing better because that's what we're expected, except that generation wasn't taught how to accept that. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. So, like, she wants me to do better, but it's hard for her because she didn't get to do those things. She didn't get to go to college.
Oh, I get it now.
She didn't get to, like, have those experiences. So when you mess up, she's going to point it out. Right. And it's not out of, like, jealousy, but it's, like, insecurity. But she's also, like, a very strong person that I envy because there's no way in hell I could have been a single mom. Like, I envy how strong single moms are because my husband does a shit ton at the house. He helps me. And even though we're, like, half and half, it's, like, we all have our strengths in different areas. And so I wouldn't say, like, there's competition, but it almost feels that way.
Like, I dated a couple girls that were exactly how I see it, because they would tell me, like, my mom is such a asshole or whatever, and they would give me, like, all this shit, like, a play-by-play or a rundown on why they thought that. And what it boiled down to me, outside looking in, was, like, they were living the life that their mom wanted to live, but she just never could. For whatever reason. Maybe they got married early or had to have a family, or I don't know, but, like, and it was like two separate girls with the same story, and they were both like moms from Mexico, and, like, they were fucking assholes to their daughters. And it was just like, outside looking in, I was like, they have to be jealous of either their lifestyle or just something, that they're just so tuned out on being a mom to them on certain occasions. That's how I feel.
That makes sense to me too, and looking at it from that perspective. My parents did not have a good relationship, and my dad was not a good husband to my mom. They were very young. And they were, like, from the time where this is literally what happened. She skipped school with him, and my grandpa said, "You gotta get married." I don't know what y'all were doing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like basically
Damn.
that's what ended up happening. So my dad went and asked for my mom's hand in marriage. She was the oldest daughter. So she essentially had to get married, but they didn't have me for like 5 years or something like that. So when I met my husband, like, my dad was, machismo, like, that's how he grew up. I'm the man of the house. You do what I say. That's just how they were brought up.
Real old school.
Real old school.
Yeah.
And I loved my husband. We were dating at the time. I didn't want to get married. He didn't want to get married. We separated for like a short period of time. But my mom was like, "How could you? Like he's such a good man." And and she stuck up for him a lot. So like in that sense is I don't know that it was jealousy, but it was more of like you have it so like you could have it so good because he treats you well. What are you doing?
Yeah, but she could have went the jealousy route. You know what I mean? Your mom chose not to, and to be like, "Hey, I didn't have this. Let me open your eyes to something that I didn't have." But a lot.
Well, but it wasn't like I'm toning it. I'm giving you like the edited version of the what went down. It was more of like you're wrong, sticking up for him. I would have felt more like he was her son than I was her daughter. That's just what it was.
Yeah.
So at the time, I probably felt like it was jealousy. I don't know if I would say that now, but like looking back, I would say it's easy to understand. Like that's probably
Yeah. And that's what I like I said, outside looking in, that's what I thought. I never told them like, "Hey, your mom's jealous of you," but that's how I felt because it would be like certain scenarios, and they'd be like, "Man, my mom told me this," and I'd be like, "Well, I mean, you were dressed up, all this shit," and I know that's jealousy. I fucking know it. And sure
She's a
enough,
hater.
yeah. And then like even some of my coworkers will give me stories, and even their wives now are still got like, I don't know, a competition with their mom because of their marriage, how their marriage is. It's fucking weird, man. I know it's there,
Yeah.
and I'm
guess-
glad that you never saw it because that's a good thing.
My mom, she's from Mexico, but she came here as a girl, and she tried to be different than the way her parents were, and then so I don't know. My mom just wasn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just wanted to ask your take on that or
Yeah,
whatever.
but I hear about it. I hear about it a lot with the getting affection from dad, the mother and daughter competing for affection from the husband. I hear about that a lot.
It's just
But I
blows
don't-
my
I don't get it.
mind. Like
Because in my eyes, my husband should love my daughter more.
exactly.
And should show her more affection and to show her what a man should be. Like I already know what kind of man he is, and I know he loves me. Like I don't know. I don't get it.
It's the whole Electra. Is it Oedipus? Like where the daughter is more or jealous of the mom, and the son's jealous of the dad because it's a theory. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but the son, I don't know if he kills the father and wants to marry the mom, but it's like a theory. Like it's
Because you always, not always, but you'll hear in certain people talking about you want to marry someone like your mom.
right, and so, like, I can get why that would show up. I want to say though, like, Lubbock is so small-minded,
Yeah.
and the Hispanic community is not the same as it is everywhere else. And I feel like in general we're in a little bubble where people are jealous of each other. There's a lot of hate here.
Yes, I've always said that.
Like even when I went to middle school, like the girls didn't get along. I hung out with guys, and anybody that I've talked to would say they hung out with guys because it was overwhelming to hang out with girls. Like you didn't trust them. You didn't whatever. And so I feel like there's just a lot of
Hispanic girls as a culture, I feel like there was a lot of envidia. Like you couldn't, like my close set of friends, like I can tell them my accomplishments and, oh, I got this raise or this, and they're not gonna see it as, oh, she's bragging.
right.
Like there's only a handful of people that I will share
I
stuff
have
with.
one person, or well, like one couple, which it's these two that you feel like when you're winning and you share with them, they're they feel like they're winning too.
Yes.
But if you tell other people, you're like, they're probably wishing bad on you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, definitely. Like they're not being genuine. They're not genuinely happy for you. And I hate that as our culture. I wish, like, if you're doing good and like you had it hard and you're doing good now, like I'm like, fuck yeah, like you worked your ass off. I don't know. I just don't get how our culture is like that.
But
Like like
that's why I can't stress enough how much I love my whole circle because we are all the same. Like I can't. The only way I can put it into words is how I did before on the podcast was you're a diehard Lakers fan and they just won the championship and you're like, we won. And you're like, where's we? You're not on the team. Like, fuck you. Like that's who I cheer for. I cheer for all my friends to succeed. And when they're winning, we fucking won.
Right.
We fucking won. Like and we're all like that. And y'all just fucking validated everything that I've said. Like we cheer each other on, and there's not enough of that.
no.
How could you have it any other way?
Like there, yeah, I don't get how we're friends forever, and then you tell me you're winning, and I'm like, oh fuck that B.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
And it happens. So I see it so often. And I literally, like, me and Raquel have been friends since high school. And it's one of those things where I met these two people, like, completely separate from each other. But they're both amazing people. So knowing that when they're happy for me in situations that I've had in the past, or genuinely like encouraging me to do something, you know, or whatever the case is, like I feel that same way, but you don't come across that often here. And I
No.
think that's why it's so valuable, because I've had lots of friends.
Acquaintances.
Yeah. Well,
Acquaintances.
I grew
call
up
them
in Lubbock,
acquaintances. Yeah.
you know, and this is it. Like,
That's crazy to me, man. It really
Or like
is.
if you're like, oh man, my kid did this, like you're just like so fucking proud, and they're like, well, my kid did this, and then
yeah.
you're like, okay,
Like, that's not what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just happy you're
yeah.
excited.
I'm
for
like,
this.
so it tells you like that, like, oh, okay,
Yeah, the one-uppers I can understand. And sometimes I can see myself doing that sometimes. But it's only because I have been holding that story.
It's not a
And-
one up though. That's what I was about to
Yeah,
tell you.
it's
Like,
not.
it's not a one up. It's a connection, because somebody's talking about something and you have a similar story and you want
being
to
relatable.
Yeah, you want to support and be relatable in that sense. So that's
But sometimes I feel I'll overpower the conversation and I'm just like, man, I just shitted on you being so happy. I'm sorry.
but
Like,
you
They know
but you
their
have a strong
intention.
personality. Like, if you know JP, he has a strong personality. So that's just
Yeah.
you. So if someone is genuinely your friend and love, we fucking love you for you. We know you have
Yeah.
a strong personality.
Yeah.
And not that many people I've noticed, because I have a couple friends that have strong personalities and none of them mix. And I've noticed that other people get annoyed by my friends that have strong personalities, but I'm like, they're not for everybody. But they're like one of my girlfriends. She's a very strong personality, and she's very loud. But like, she is fucking like, she's a good ass friend and she's amazing. But a lot of people get annoyed by that. But I love her. That's who she is. Just like you, I love you. That's who you are.
well, I hope people don't get annoyed by.
and I think too, like, it also goes the way of like reciprocation. So, I, you know, specifically, I can remember when we were both buying a house. Y'all bought a house, and then Raquel talked to me about like the lender and who it was, and she's like, you should go and talk to them, because we were growing our family. We had just adopted, and we needed a bigger space. And instead of like gatekeeping the system, she shared that with me, and I felt like she wants to see me succeed.
Right.
Whereas people gatekeep like basic stuff like that because they don't want to see you succeed. And if you, like, anytime that I've shared anything with JP, he's like, man, that's badass. And I enjoy the encouragement because I don't share a whole lot of my private life with people. So to have people that are in your corner actually rooting for you and for you to know that, it reminds you, like, there are good people. And the people, my dad used to always tell me, the amount of friends true friends that you have over a lifetime, you can count in one hand. And I carry that with me because I believe it. Like, it's few and far between of the people that really genuinely are happy for you in those moments. And so it makes me sad to know that, like, our culture and people we should connect with here in, in this area, they're haters.
But what
They are.
What is it?
I don't know. I just like over the years volunteering in different organizations, different stuff with my kids. I'm Hispanic, so like I will like gravitate, go to the Hispanic moms. No, I mean I'm for everybody, but and a lot of times they'll come off like being so rude, and so and
Like,
in
you're
my
new.
mind I'm like fuck you. I'm gonna go with these Anglo people, and and they will be so sweet and nice, and I'm like why and I will go home and I'm like what what the. Like, it's in different occasions, different groups, different organizations, and I'm like, what is wrong? Like,
It's that small town thinking.
I don't know, but I get so irritated with it. I'm like,
It's small town thinking.
But-
And I always wonder, like, the people that I went to school with that have a lot of friends, like, you start to question, what was I doing that was different? Or do I just have a
Yeah.
better gauge?
no.
But going back to your gatekeeping statement, I figured that out real quick here recently, because obviously this is our first whole year as a business with mine and my wife's business. I legit was like trying to find a tax person. If you don't ask the question, you're never gonna find out. So I'm like asking people with businesses like, hey, do you have a tax person or blah? And I would get like, why do you want to know that? You know what I mean? And I'm just asking for. I'm not even asking you for help on my taxes. I'm just point me in a direction. And it was just like, hey man, your ass, like, get back, step back. And I was like, what the fuck, man? And then so I asked one of my good friends, San Juan, who I should have just went to in the fucking first place. This dude was like, boom, go here, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, fucking A, man. Like, wow. And that was just like, it hit me. It hit me. I was like, oh,
good
these
friend.
previous fuckers are fucking hiding whatever the fuck. Like,
So-
I don't know. It's weird. It's fucking weird.
So it's like that with men too?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a Hispanic woman
Same.
thing. Did not know that.
I mean, all I needed was a direction, and you would have thought like I was asking for their wife's phone number. You know, it was like that. It was like, hey, like, I don't know. But that statement is true because I just recently realized that.
Well, I guess my husband would tell me too in college. Like he hung out with nothing but black people. He's like, they're just so much cooler and relaxed. Like they just know how to chill and enjoy each other. He's like, the Hispanics act like they have a stick up their ass. I'm like, and that was just the guys. That was the guy thing. I was like, oh,
Well, I wouldn't honestly put it on a culture. For me, I'm not trying to discredit anything that you're saying, because I've never really felt anything like y'all are saying. But maybe it's just because, like in high school, I kicked it with everybody, with all the little small cliques. All those small cliques in school, I kicked it with all of them.
That's the difference, though. You could. I couldn't kick it with different girl cliques or different cliques in general
Yeah.
because I was viewed as competition immediately. Like, even if I wasn't, I could have been the ugliest bitch in the world. It doesn't matter. It's another female entering this circle of friends. She must want something. Like, that turned me off from even trying to make friends, which I will say, like, the people that I have made friends with over time is been through you guys, because you're like just a friendly, cool ass dude. So like, I know if you trust somebody, then I can trust somebody, and I feel comfortable hanging out with you guys. So even like with Crystal and getting to know her, that was a bonus, because I'm not going to go up and talk to Crystal because I'm going to assume she's not going to like me, because that's the experience I've had. So with a guy, if somebody doesn't like you, who gives a shit? Guys are more accepting in different areas. You can move on. But in girls, like, if the girlfriend or the friend or somebody says something, they'll stop inviting you places, and then that's it. Like, you don't get included.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'll just stick to myself because that's where I'm comfortable. I'll like stay in my circle, you know.
Girls are evil.
They are, especially here.
So like, so if you see like a real close coworker, so not a friend, but more than an acquaintance, her husband is like cheating and you know that, you won't even fucking let her know, or you would?
Whoa.
No, I'm asking. I'm only asking that because how you're saying like competition, and I want to get your thought on like maybe she'll turn her back on you and be like, "Well, fuck you," and then still stay married, and then you're the bad person.
Here's the thing. If somebody really cares about you and trusts you, and they know that you have their good intention at heart, they're going to believe you. Because why would that person want to ruin a marriage? That would never be my intention. And if somebody was my friend and they knew that, then I wouldn't ever like say something like that if there wasn't truth behind it.
The only reason I asked that is because you brought up competition, and that's always the story.
But also,
Like you mentioned, you saw the husband cheating. You mentioned it. They stay together, and then you're the odd man out. No, like you're no longer a friend to that person, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
They're just trying to ruin their marriage.
that's why I was asking. But
I couldn't keep something like that in, so I would do it.
yeah.
I already know how I am. It would eat me up alive. I'm like, oh my God. And then if she accepted it, then if not, then that friendship wasn't meant to be.
Exactly. It's one of those situations where you want what's best for whoever is involved. It doesn't matter. Like,
Especially if they know me. They know, like, I don't care what's going on with them. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody's life.
yeah,
If they truly know me, they know I, like, because, you know, like, some friends you just know, like, love drama and like to be in the drama, like, and they know, like, I'm not ever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now if it's a friend, if it's not my friend, and it's maybe somebody that's an acquaintance or a friend of my husband, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's
some people have open marriages.
Yeah, I don't know what their relationship is. I don't know what status they're at. Like, I don't know that person or their person individually. So I'm not going to be like, this is what's happening, because how do I know that that's actually what's happening? Till I know if I know it's somebody that I'm friends with and I know what's going on, like, I'm not going to make assumptions.
Yeah. And like I said, some people have open marriages nowadays.
Do you ever have drama? I asked that because, like, no bullshit. For as long as I've known her and Cisco, whenever drama happens, no lie, these fuckers are totally clueless to, like, they're always like, miss me with that bullshit. And then they're like, what happened? Like, motherfucker, you were there.
I love that, though.
Like
Motto to live by.
Like with other people or with each other?
No, not with each other.
Oh, I was
no.
like, everybody argues.
No, like,
I don't
like,
want to be in
other
the business.
people?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. You two are always like, miss me with that bullshit. Because me and Cisco will be talking on Monday about drama that happened with all of us, like, being there. You know what I mean? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, motherfucker, you were there. Like,
My husband is the king of non-drama. I don't think so. I don't.
yeah.
I'm trying to think what family. I mean, we've had drama with our families, but like,
Yeah, everyone's got family drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like, if somebody pissing me off, pissing him off. But
But yeah, you two are always like out of the bullshit, like whatever.
I like to hear it. What?
But I don't know nothing.
I don't know. No, and our whole relationship since the beginning, when we were young, no, we never really had that much drama. Our lives are kind of boring,
Yeah.
but I kind of prefer it that way. And but my husband, he's a very non-drama person. He's like, it's not my business. I don't want to know. And I'm like, well, ask.
Yeah, that's how my
I want
husband
to
is.
know.
Even when I'm like needing details for like a family gathering, I'm like, what did they say? like, what do they need us to bring? And he's
We're-
like, Mom,
I think that's why we all get along, because we are all the same way.
I don't know.
All I fucking know is we're supposed to be there Saturday at 4.
Yeah.
And I still don't even know where the fuck it's at yet. Like,
And I'm
I'll
like,
find
well,
out.
where?
Everybody
Yeah.
tells me like I like when it comes to his family, they'll text me and call me before they call him. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been, so yeah.
We're all the same Z's.
So no, we really don't have them. Well, I just have some kind of drama come up. But no, we really don't have that much.
What?
No, I guess
Hold on, we're all ears. No,
that's
but
why I like to watch drama TV, because I'm like, oh my god.
but before we leave, let me ask you both this. What's one thing that you took from your mom and dad that you presented to your children?
Bluntness and being strict. Oh, one thing, bluntness.
Well, I mean, whatever. Yeah, being
Just
strict
one.
too. Yeah. I
I'm
mean, at least one thing, but
very blunt with we're very blunt in our household. I'm very blunt with my children.
What does that
Especially
mean? Like to you?
Like, I tell her straight up, like, it may hurt her feelings. I saw this meme. It was like, you can't hurt my feelings. I grew up with a Hispanic mom. That's probably going to be my daughter. Because, I mean, the world is evil, and she's in middle school. Girls are evil, and a lot of times you see her friends crying. Because, girls are just mean and bullies. And she's like, I don't care. But I'm very blunt with her and tell her things straight up, like, huh? No, we're not besties. I'm still her mom, but we're still kind of.
No, like your breath stinks.
Oh, your breath stinks. Sorry. So yes, literally, I will tell her, like, if she looks dumb, I will tell her, you look fucking stupid. You're gonna get bullied today. I'm trying to help you out. And I know that may sound mean, and oh my god, I'm not a gentle parent. I'm just trying to help her out and be straightforward with her. Just with everything in life, for like when it comes to boys or anything, I'm like, no, like,
like
just
personal
very straightforward.
experience. Like you don't want them to go through the shit you went through.
No, and I want her just to have thicker skin, because I see girls that that are 18, 19, 20, and they're like crying or always sad and stuff because people are just mean. So I'm trying to prepare her for the real world and how life is.
But you said strict too. So
Yes, we
your
are.
parents were real strict.
My parents are very strict. We are a lot stricter with our children than a lot of. None of her friends. I still have not met one friend of hers that have strict parents.
We were very new in our friendship, and you said something that will forever be tattooed on my brain.
Oh, I want to know.
I don't know.
And it's not bad.
Was I
I
sober?
mean, whatever. But this day and age, you have to take into consideration this day and age. But it stays forever tattooed on my brain. But you were like, yeah, my daughter's not going to fucking spend the night anywhere and be fucking molested by someone. And I was like, what the fuck?
Well, no, I was not sober, but I remember saying that, yes. And I remember my husband too saying, my daughter's not gonna be raped. Yes, I remember that. At least
true.
as much power as we're able to, Things
Yeah.
happen later on, then, I mean, that's out of our control, but
But just saying that to go with the whole strict, like,
we are a lot
Yeah.
more strict, yes.
Yeah.
Then we don't do sleepovers, or we don't allow her to go to sleepovers or do sleepovers or go catch a ride with the parent ever. Now I think about it, that we don't know. We say no to a lot of things, and she knows that. Like, I've told her that from forever. I'm like, don't even ask. The answer was going to be no. Granted, she has friends all the time that are over at our house and staying at our house. Have I met half the parents? No. Last Friday, I picked up some little girl, and
bless you.
I was like, do I need to meet your parent? No. I'm like, okay.
It's
Okay.
always surprising when you get that answer.
And I don't know why I'm so surprised, because this happens like almost every weekend. I'm like, no idea who the parents are. I've met like maybe 2 parents out of like 15 girls.
Damn.
No,
Or-
I mean,
or
not
just
to
like willing to
not to say shit on them. I don't know,
Right.
but I'm just.
But
we're-
that's not at all how the fuck we were raised. You're not
No.
fucking spending the night anywhere unless my parents meet your parents. Fuck that.
And I remember I was 17 when I first time I stayed the night at somebody's house.
God damn.
And my parents knew both of her parents for like years at that. I probably won't take it to that extreme, but yeah, we are a lot more strict than a lot of other parents are. But I feel like you have to be nowadays.
Yeah.
And we have a cute little teenage girl, and oh,
I wouldn't say cute. I'd say gorgeous.
thank you.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's a little shit though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying she ain't a little shit, but she's
Yeah.
very, very beautiful. What would you say you took from your parents?
I guess one thing that really sticks with me is when my dad. So, like, I've made bad choices in life, like everybody has. And my dad has always said, like, when you come to life is like you coming to a four-way stop. And you need to look at every direction before you cross the street so you don't get run over by a car. And when I was younger, like, I'm like, whatever. Like, so dumb. But then some adult shit happened to me, and I recognized what he meant, which you always know. Like, you know what they're saying. But you would make those choices anyway, and my dad would be, like, right there to support me. He'd be like, you made this choice. This is what it is, and I'm going to be here for you, even though it's the wrong fucking choice. In other words, like, you have to take the consequences of your actions because you're the one that crossed that street. And so that's something that has stuck with me for forever, is like, be aware of the decisions you're making and look at every possible outcome that you can. Is that a trauma response because fucked up shit happens? Probably. But at the same time, it makes me always have my own back. Before I do something, I like check myself. Like, what's going to happen if I do this or this or this? And I had my dad tell my daughter that like 2 days ago. I'm like, tell her what you always tell me. Because it was not something I valued until I was older. And so now I'm like, that's something she's going to learn and she needs to know.
Do you think she understood it?
No.
No.
But I wanted her first time to hear it to be from him. Because as time goes on, if he's not around and I repeat that to her, I want her to recognize the weight of those words. Like, pay attention to what you're doing and make your choices the best that you can. Because nobody has your back except me and your dad forever. You can always come home. You can always, So that's always something that I have wanted for her, is to, like, take those words of wisdom, to always pay attention to what you're doing before you do it. Like, that's the biggest thing. For my mom, she's just always been like, she's a single mom who, like, took care of me and my sister. And so just strong and independent. That's probably something that I would also want her to also see. I haven't really thought about, like, with my son, because just like I said, he's different in a sense that the way he was born was different. Things are going to take a little bit of a different way to get to, like, resonate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to have to figure that out as we go. But my daughter's 9. So I feel like she's at the age where she's absorbing and she has a lot of questions. And I feel like I answer them as best I can. But that's, like, the main thing I want to pass on to her, is, like, some of the important information that my parents gave me was, like, think about the consequences of your actions. So.
But that's crazy to hear it from her grandpa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the first time. Wow.
Yeah. I made it a point to, like, have him tell her for that reason.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Man, so to close out the show, I always ask, do you guys have any shout outs? And of course I'll ask you that. But before we go, best part of being a mom.
This probably sounds pretty stereotypical, but the unconditional love. Like, there's no love like when you just, like, cuddle with your baby and they just, like, love you. And they, like, today, my son gave me a hug. He said, I just love you so much, mommy. And I'm like, ugh. Like, it's different, like, oh, your husband, oh, I love you. Oh, your mom, oh, I love you. And my daughter's like a cactus, she's a teenager, so she'll tell me she loves me sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's just like, you can do no wrong in their eyes. Like even if you feel like you're such a fuck up at the end of the day, like I should have did this and I didn't accomplish any of my goals today, in their eyes, like you're perfect. I feel like that's the best part of me.
I feel like that's the same, but also, like, if I'm trying to like give a different thing, it's kind of hard to top that because that's my favorite thing too. Is like,
It was kind of stereotypical, but it
it's
is.
not stereotypical. It's like real. Like that's how I feel, and I think a lot of moms resonate with that. But
Yeah.
my favorite thing would
Remember
be,
that feeling when you think that you're
dude.
doing shitty of a mother.
Well, no, he gets on my him and my daughter test my nerves every damn day.
Oh yes.
But at the end of the night, like I am so grateful because I think like, what would my life be without these kids making my life fucking chaotic?
I say that all the time. I'm like, I can't even imagine. My life would be so boring.
Yeah, and I'm so like grateful because y'all know my journey. I never thought I was gonna have kids. I couldn't physically have kids, and now I do, and it's like the greatest joy of my life. But it's also like exhausting. So my favorite thing about being a mother would probably be that, and just like being able to see them grow and imagine the possibilities. I just, every time I look at them, I'm like, what are you going to be? Like, what is your life going to turn out like? I can't wait to see that because I don't feel like I had that support as a child. I wasn't expected to go to college. I was just expected to graduate. And so with every generation, our expectations get higher. And so I'm just like, you guys are going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That fucking home run. Yeah. Because that just struck a memory of mine that I never thought. I mean, my family, none of us went to college. So I was going to be like, I'm going to work. And I'll never forget that morning that my dad woke me up and he's like, when the fuck do y'all start school? I was like, what the fuck do you mean? I just graduated. And he was like, college. I'm not fucking going to school. He's like, the fuck you ain't. And had he not did that, I don't know where the fuck my life would be right now. I really don't. That fucking day, of course, changed my life for forever. But I was like, I guess he's expecting me to go to fucking school. Like, cause I was like, I'm gonna work somewhere.
Yeah,
No.
I gotta work. Especially when you're brought up like working all the time. That's what you expect.
Yeah.
That's what your parents did. That's how you survive. And I'm glad you got to have that experience with your dad.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, I thought I was just gonna go to work, and
He's like hell you are.
and he's like, no, fuck no, you're going to school, and even then, I was still like, fuck that, I'm working. And 2 days later, he's like, hey, you got your TOS test or whatever the fuck on Monday, and I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Eat a good breakfast.
Yeah. But anywho, you have any shout outs?
You go first.
My daughter, my son, and my husband, and my family, if they watch this.
And they hear it. Yeah, for sure.
They are.
Yeah.
Does your family listen to the podcast?
I know my brothers do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And my husband.
Your
yeah.
nephews do too.
Oh yeah, and my
Yeah.
nephews. Oh yes, they do because
Yeah.
they'll text like when they're at work and say yes. And I'm gonna have my daughter listen. This is a PG.
Shout out your nephews.
Oh yeah, shout out to all my nephews. I love y'all. Even the
You missed
crazy
your
ones.
opportunity.
Jacob, Joel, Jaden. And this is a rated PG. So my daughter can listen to this one.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got a
Yeah.
lot of helpful information.
Shout out your mom. Shout out your mom's salsa. It will for always and forever be the bomb.com.
I want to shout out, I guess, obviously my kids, my husband, my dad ceviche that he's never made you. Shout out.
He's going to though.
He
Eventually.
keeps
Eventually.
He keeps saying
Yeah.
that. Every time my dad comes over to their house, he's like, "I'm gonna make you."
You want to make me this tostadas?
Well,
Blah,
invite
blah,
me
blah,
because I
blah.
love ceviche.
And I'm like, "Yeah, he's gonna make it." He don't ever make it. He don't ever make it. It's
Well,
really
to his
good.
credit, he always wants to do it the next day, and the next day we're not available. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll make
That's
you
what
some
I'm saying,
ceviche. I
eventually.
just bought some shrimp the other day because it was on sale, and I was like, I'm gonna make some ceviche one of these days.
You ate possum shrimp.
What?
What did you just say?
I said I'll make you some
Oh, she bought some-
ceviche.
she bought
I bought
some
some
shrimp.
shrimp. I bought some shrimp the other day for ceviche.
What?
I thought
That's
it was.
some new
I thought
shit.
that was some new shit. Like you got possum shrimp. Where the fuck is that from? New Orleans?
No.
My bad.
So, and shout out to my father-in-law who apparently watches your
Oh fuck yeah.
podcast.
Hold on. So shout out Patriot Paint Construction. Shout out Tigre Burrito. Have y'all fucked with Tigre Burrito?
No,
Say
but I
yes.
keep hearing it on your
What the
podcast.
fuck?
I
Where's that?
keep hearing it on your podcast. I was like, I need to go.
Where's
I
that?
need to go. It's in Wolford.
It's
right?
in Wolford, right next to the Dairy Queen,
I'm driving out that far.
and it's
I do go to the soccer box, which is in that area.
So then, what the fuck? You need to go to Tigre Burrito.
I need to Google the
Yeah.
address because I don't know anything about Wilford.
Yeah.
Me either. I'm trying to think where's Dairy Queen.
And you guys are
She's a Dairy
planning
Queen.
quinceañeras. You guys are planning graduation parties. Hit up my boy DJ Kipo 806 on all your social medias. This guy said he'll work with any budget, so holler at him. He's the official DJ of the JP
Free?
Lopez Show.
Free budget.
I said budget. Free ain't no budget. Pinche raza. We just talked about empowering fucking Mexicans and shit.
We can empower and be hopeful.
Oh shit, man. But till next time, read some books.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. This episode is brought to you by DJ Kipo. DJ Kipo handles all things like weddings, quinceañeras, anniversaries, and graduations. He's good at what he does, keeps the party going, and hit him up on IG, TikTok at DJ Kipo 806. Once again, that's DJ KEEPO 806. Oh, it's you again. This episode is brought to you by Patriot Paint and Construction. They specialize in commercial and residential. They also specialize in drywall and paint. No job is too big or too small for them. Hit them up at 806-544-7199. Oh, you're still here? This episode is brought to you by Tigre Burrito, located at 720 Highway 62 in Wolford, Texas. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. They specialize in breakfast and lunch burritos. They've also got some plates. Tell them JP Lopez sent you. But breakfast burritos are pretty fucking huge, so you better bring a big appetite. They're the shit.